What's your name?
Tyson Reed.
Alright, Tyson Reed. Who are you, man?
I'm a go-getter. I'm a leader. I'm the future. I'm unique. I'm one of a kind. I'm undefined and redefined all at the same time. I don't know. I'm an all-around. I would say that I'm a role model. I would say that I'm a teacher. I would say that I would say, not to sound too narcissistic or egotistical, but I would say that I am an image that some people aspire to be.
What's your name?
My name is Darnell, 2 L's, Lubin. Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. So this is an interview about Tyson Reed, your current roommate, person you've been living with for about 3 years now, basically. 3 years. How do you know Tyson? How'd you guys meet?
I actually met Tyson our sophomore year of college. We were actually set up to be roommates randomly, and yeah, that's how I met him. We were just set up randomly to be roommates. Him, our other 2 roommates, Brandon Sanzo and Sammy Ramirez. His character is very it's outlandish in a funny way, funny and extra way. Anybody that knows Tyson Reed would know what I'm talking about, but that man can really brighten up a room if he really wants to. I would put it that way.
If you had anything that you'd want to just make sure that Tyson knows that how you feel, anything at all.
Tyson knows I always love him, man. I got that man's back forever. What else do I say about Tyson? Let's see. Yeah, just know, even though you may call me your baby brother, I'm still older than you. I'm bigger than you. I'm stronger than you. I'm faster than you. And I'm overall better than you. Yeah, that's what I would like to let him know, that I'm better than him.
Alright, man.
At the same time, and that's a surface level thing, because I'm somebody who I do care a lot about how I portray myself, how I carry myself, and therefore, to a certain extent, I do put value in how I'm viewed by the general public, more so the people I consider myself close to than strangers, but still, to an extent, I care about how people I'm close to see me. So I definitely try to carry myself in a confident manner, in a kind of undefeatable way, if that makes sense. I try to always look like nothing can take me down, like nothing can, sour my mood, nothing gets to me type thing, because I think that there's a lot of people who look at themselves and they don't like what they see, and they can't imagine a version of themselves that's powerful. So I like to show people that you can hold yourself, carry yourself, and all around be powerful.
What's your name?
My name is Michael.
Michael. How do you know Tyson?
Through my friend Manu.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think I met him for the first time. It was either at Manu's birthday party or shortly beforehand. But this semester, and I've hung out with him a few times, and I gotta say, one of the best freestyle rappers I've ever heard. And it's funny because there's a lot of people that do it a lot. A lot. And I remember there was this one huge cypher that we were all at once. And I went a bunch of times, Stanza went a bunch of times, Rayo went a bunch of times. I think even Brandon went in. And out of nowhere, I didn't even know Tyson rapped. And then he comes out and he spits the best verse out of the entire cypher. And I was just shit. Another talented motherfucker that I know. And it's but at the same time, he's so humble. And the only thing he really carries with him is I don't know, just like it seems like good vibes, good people. Like he has like very like you can tell he has people that just love him for him because he's an enigma.
But at the same time, I am still human. I have insecurities, fears, concerns, sadness, just like everybody else, although I'll admit I'm really not good with dealing with it, especially when it comes to sadness. I'm the type of person who bottles up emotions that I don't want to handle. For a long time, I was insecure, not on the surface, but, you know, underneath, on a personal level, I was insecure about who I was. I wasn't the biggest fan of myself. Although I carried myself in that confident manner, I didn't feel too confident until I surrounded myself with people who, you know, held me in that light, and I got some mentors and role models who showed me how to be, you know, a beacon of light, kind of.
Yeah. What's your name?
So, my name is Kaneshka. So this one time we're having a conversation. We're talking about religion. We're really comfortable with each other. Just all of our friend group, like all of us. So we just talk about really serious personal things all the time, and we're always like attacking each other's beliefs, just because we're just kind of like we kind of push ourselves a lot. So we're just having conversations. One time religion came up, and he was talking about his faith, and like like everyone had different opinions. And then one thing that he said to me like really stood out. He was like, we're talking about, you know, like how hard it is to be able to say in this day and age that God does exist, because there's no proof, right? So everyone else makes the argument that, you know, like we believe in him, so he exists, and like they just make lots of different arguments. It's really hard to like keep up with because it doesn't really like have a logical basis around it. But something that he said was just like, I had nothing to say afterwards, because he was like, well, there's no proof he doesn't exist. I was like, you're not wrong. He's like, well, like, and if it makes me happy, and if it helps my life to have that certain sense of faith in something, like, why shouldn't I? And he wasn't wrong. Like, there's nothing, like he's a perfect example of like a really family-oriented, really fun, happy, loving person that everyone cares about. He does a lot of good. He takes care of the people around him. So like I couldn't say you believing in like certain faith like is making you any lesser of a person, or like you believing in something means that you can't think logically about something else, or like have, you know, like other thoughts about other things. It was just really nice. He said that I have no reason not to be faithful, and by being faithful, I have something to believe in, and that was just amazing to me. Like that's what the day I realized like Tyson Reed is this person that is really secure with who he is, and there's not a lot of people live, especially now in 2018, we spend so much time questioning who we are, what our value is, and what our purpose is, and that's not questions that Tyson asks himself. And by not asking those questions of himself, he's just much better of a person, in my opinion, and I love him for it, you know, and it extends to my life in a really positive way.
But for a long time, I carried a lot of pain. A lot of it stems from the relationship I had with my mother and my father. I come from a single parent home. I was raised by my mother with my 3 sisters, and my dad was never really in the picture. It's not, you know, to an extreme where some people, like, they don't know their father, they've never met him. Like, I know my dad, like, I would go visit my dad, but he never really, as far as I can remember, he never really lived with us. and I internalized that for a long time, as most kids would, to think, you know, like, it's probably because of me, even though it definitely wasn't. And then that led into fear that I didn't really get over until my sophomore year in college. And for a long time I had a real deep fear of ending up like my father. I had a real deep fear of becoming a person who doesn't stay with their family, who doesn't stick around their family, becoming a person who the people I love and care for most wouldn't be able to depend on or wouldn't feel like they could go to. I was really terrified of being that person, and it kind of defined me in the way that now I always try to, you know, when it comes to my friends, my family, I always try to be there for them as much as I can. I want them to see me as a person that they can lean on if they're not strong, because if I'm not that person, I don't know who I am.
So, what's your perspective of Tyson, the kind of person he is?
Person he is? I think Tyson's really nice to the point where, like, if I feel uncomfortable with a decision I'm making or an action that I don't know how to take, I can trust him in giving me advice that wouldn't better his position at all. Just complete, like, try to help me advice. And I also feel like he's the most anti-steer-go man around, so I can trust him pretty much anything, actually. Trust him pretty much anything.
So when did you meet him, like, roughly?
I met him about, I think, a year ago.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's weird. I mean, I'm thinking about it. I trust a person that much. I met him a year ago. I even trust my dad that much.
I learned a lot of what not to do from my father's example, which also, you know, it saddened me when I was younger, just because I see all these other kids who their dad's next to them all the time. Their dad's at every event that they're doing. You know, their dad comes to the school. They could just text their dad, whatever. Everybody has, like, this relationship with their father that I never really had, although even with that was something I bottled up, because as a kid it would bother me that, like, my dad wasn't a person that I felt like I could just hit up on the phone and just even talk basic, not even like deep stuff, just talk like basically about my day. We didn't really have that relationship until recently, really, like within the past year. And then earlier this year when he passed, it kind of made me realize that although growing up I wasn't able to have that relationship with him, it made our relationship within the past year, now that I'm older, a lot stronger. It allowed me to understand who he is more, allowed me to understand who I am more. So even though for a long time it was regret that I held, I wouldn't say I feel that regret anymore. I'm grateful for the lesson that it taught me. And then when it went to my mother, I had a fear of disappointment. So it's one thing when you carry yourself as like this pinnacle of a person, you know, you get the best grades in school, you know, you're like a role model individual when it comes to the activities you're in. Other adults are going to my mom and telling her, like, Tyson's this, Tyson's that, Tyson's so great. And that's awesome because, you know, it provided my mom with pride in me and who I am. But at the same time, it now creates a pressure, right? Because if I stop living up to that pinnacle, then I fall really far. So I definitely had a fear for a really long time of disappointing my mother and a fear of falling short of the mark that I had set for myself, which led into a whole lot of, you know, insecurities if I'm not doing the best in school, insecurities if, you know, really if I'm not doing the best at everything I am, if I'm not the center at the top of what I'm doing, then I would feel like I failed. when I really didn't. But even with that too, learning how, I came to know that learning how to accept failure, learning how to deal with failure is just a part of being human.
Hey man. Hi, I'm Brandon Sanzo.
Brennan Sanzo, how do you know Tyson Reed?
I know, well, actually, I met Tyson Reed in first grade. We were youngins back then. I was new to the school. I just moved to Webster from Olean, New York, and you know, I met him. I vibed with him. We were kids, and we had a good time.
How do you describe your relationship with Tyson?
Describing my relationship with Tyson, not many people in this world are closer. You know, definitely a day one, always has my back. You know, we're some goofy ass individuals. We like to have fun, and we push each other to get out of our own comfort zones and challenge ourselves.
How would you describe Tyson as a human being, his character?
If I were to describe Tyson's character, and as a human being and all, is just like an overall like upstanding dude. He doesn't like put out that he's too caring, but he's a very helpful individual. He's faithful. He knows what he knows, and it's really hard to change his mind on things like that. And when you get him in the right circumstances, he's driven. Otherwise, he's lazy. But if you get him in the right mood, you know, he's a driven guy.
Is there anything that you would want to say to Tyson that you want him to just like know and understand?
Hey man, this is my finger. That's my pointer finger right there. Hey man, I appreciate you and everything that you do for me. You really hold it down.
Alright.
And I think that's an important revelation to come to, that I'm glad I was able to come to, you know, while I'm younger. Too many people don't realize that it's okay to just be human. There's no image, there's no vision that you have to be just like. It's okay to just be who you are and just accept who you are.
What's your name?
Tyson Reed.
Alright.